This is Black Views, bringing you the Black News.
Special edition all day. This is my last day on the gram after 8 years of being here on this platform. This is one of the last, so I'm going to be on and off all day as we deal with situations. Y'all heard the first half. If you didn't already catch it, please go do. If you're a member of the NFAC, or if you're not sure if you're a member of the NFAC anymore, you need to go listen to that because we put all that to bed. Now it's back to the business. Right now, I don't know where you at in the world. I don't care what you doing right now. If you got melanin in your skin right now, put the broom down, step away from the cash register. Don't do whatever you're supposed to be doing on your job for 2 seconds. Just stop and feel good, because being black, they feeling the pressure right now. And in case y'all haven't heard the latest update from the circus and the comedy that is going on Stone Mountain, Georgia right now, where the white militia and the white supremacists were supposed to show up to give us the answer after we went up on Stone Mountain 45 days ago. Well, first of all, only 30 or 40 of them showed up, and then if that wasn't bad enough, the crowd was bigger than them and there weren't no police, and if that wasn't bad enough, then things started getting grabbed and people started getting scared, and all of the militia ran and hid in the library because the park was closed. And so eventually the people had them surrounded, and it was just embarrassing. It was just damn embarrassing. And they had the National Guard was out there, and they had the police showed up, and they had to protect the militia. Now understand, while all this comedy is going on, y'all don't understand what we've done. See, y'all really should feel good, because black people, no matter how we did it, we sent a message to them that they got loud and clear. That if we want to, we can get ourselves organized into a sizable force that you have not even become close to. 30 people here, 20 people there, 50 people there. We doing bigger numbers than that. Nobody got arrested. They say they got the riot police out there on these people right now. The riot cops had to go in. There's all type of crazy people getting tear gas, arrested. These are white folks. There's some bros out there getting in some while they out there too. But at the end of the day, look at what happened. See, don't play victim to circumstances that you created. Don't do that. It blows up in your face every time. I didn't make that. I told y'all there's a law of karma. A spirit of karma is floating around the planet right now, and everybody's just, nothing's working right now. You got to come up with some new stuff. If you don't, it's going to keep blowing up in your face, because we didn't change. The world changed. A lot of y'all missed it. Y'all missed the change. We're in a different world. We're in a different reality. We're in a different time now. Everything appears to work a little different. What was upside down is now right side up. All of a sudden, the people that you thought was crazy are the people that's not crazy. And the people that you didn't think was crazy, they sound crazy to you right now. The whole world is upside down right now. So why do you think you can show up 45 days later after we answered your threat? You threatened us first. The black people showed up. Where y'all at? Nobody was there. Okay, they closed the park. We didn't show up to a closed park. Stop lying. Stop trying to take away from something historical that happened. And I want to say something like this too. See, let me go ahead and speak to all of the traitors that's sitting up in here. See, I keep telling y'all there's levels to this. I already know which ones of y'all have made up your mind that you've already decided to go the other way. You ain't got to sit up in here like you're going to get some intel, because there'll be no more of that after today anyway. We're going to go 100% private, and then you can go ahead and do your thing, and we'll do ours. Let's see how that prevails, because we're children of the Most High. Anybody who's doing anything contrary to what we're doing, you are operating against the Most High. So go ahead and let's see how that works out. But I want you to be aware that I see you, and I know who you are up in here. That's how good my intelligence is. So we're going to continue to let you know you should feel happy today, no matter who you are, no matter where you at. Because those white people came out there and they still can't get together, and they fighting amongst themselves. And they couldn't get a permit. They didn't want them there. Answering who? You 45 days late. Ain't no answer. This ain't no video game. keep telling you, all eyes on Bree. And it's not going to change. Today is a good day to announce something about arresting somebody in the case of Breonna Taylor. That's the only thing I want to hear. I don't want to hear nothing else right now. Sister girl got killed. Ain't nobody answered for it. Why is your mind on anything other than that? You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted to come back before y'all today because I got a couple more things we got to touch on real quick to put your mind at ease, but also, as I always do, since this is going to be my last day, I figure I can show off a little bit, is that we can take a little trip and talk about a couple things that I've heard. I find it amazing that everybody wants to talk about the NFAC, or they want to talk about me or whatever, but nobody wants to talk to the NFAC. They don't want to talk to me. And I first I thought it was like insulting, but then I realized, no, it's not insulting. It's not insulting at all. What it is they're afraid to get into an intellectual conversation with me, because what's going to happen is I'm either A, going to pick apart what they're saying and expose their stupidity or their bias, or they're going to find out that they can't keep up with me when we talk about the speed of which I think and then multitask on things that they're talking about. They don't want to sit and talk with me, so they rather talk about me. But then again, y'all know where I sit on these things. Not only should you be able to sit here and enumerate, not only should you be able to sit here and do an exegesis of the scriptures, not only should you be able to sit here and take us on a mental trip, like a mental roller coaster, but you should also be able to get out this chair and come out there and join us. That's the difference. There's a group of people here right now that will get up and come out there. But there's a group of other people that's going to sit here and they're going to say whatever they want, but they're not going to come out there. So please, remember, it's two different types of people. I tend to talk to the people that's going to come out there. I don't talk to people who ain't going to come out there. Because you really have to know what it feels like to put your life on the line for something. I mean, y'all all sitting here talking all this back and forth, but none of y'all want to step on that X. None of y'all want to step on that X. And if you did, you talked a good game about wanting to step on that X, but you didn't step on that X. And since I've stepped on the X after attempting to step into a few other places like the White House, I figured the X is appropriate right now. Because if somebody don't do it, then ain't nothing gonna happen. Well, goddammit, at least we can sit around and argue today of whether or not you want to celebrate the fact that we got the white folks upset in Stone Mountain, the birth of the Klan. They can't get themselves together. You should feel good right now. Sit back and like, look what them boys did. Went to, and women. It wasn't just brothers. Went down there, sent a message to the heart. Remember, we were stabbing at the heart. And this is the response that came back 45 days later, and it's chaos and nobody. Where? I'm confused. See, here's what I'm trying to figure out. If the police want you to believe that all these white militias that you've been seeing are real, that there are groups of white people out there, you know, walking around, got the same clothes on that the cops got on, got the same khakis that the cops got on, got the same equipment that the cops got it look like cop gear, but they are militia. And they got a relationship with the cops where they just look at each other. You don't ever see the cops and the white militia fighting. Yeah, that don't happen in America. So you look at them and you keep thinking, well, these are white folks that's well armed. You understand what I'm saying? But maybe the truth of the matter is, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but suppose they all are the cops. Here's why. Because every time these white folks talk about they're going to get their white militia together and they're calling people from all over the country. And remember, it's 250 million of these motherfuckers, so they're calling them from all over the country. And they're supposed to be coming from near and far. Brothers, patriots, let's get together. We're going to show them blah, 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 all this bullshit. They talk all that shit, and then they only get 30 motherfuckers, 50 motherfuckers. And we like, where the rest of their squad? Every time. It's 15, it's 10, it's 20, it's 30. Today, it's the same thing, about 30 motherfuckers. So I'm beginning to wonder, well, where is all of these motherfuckers I see at the protests? Where's all of these white militias that come out deep at the protests that look just like cops, but you want us to believe that they're white militias? I'm confused. Not only that, we told y'all we wasn't coming back out there because we had no reason to come back out there. We came out there. You motherfuckers wasn't there after you issued the threat. You don't play victims to circumstances that you created. Then you talk shit. Y'all don't realize this is like a comedy show to me. Then you talk shit on the back, coming back. Yeah, we're gonna be there where y'all at. I seen this shit on Facebook, all that shit. Yeah. And then today, y'all had to hide in the post office because the people, they chased you. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I got this right. You strapped up, shorty. Remember y'all talk shit about us? You strapped up, shorty, right? You know y'all can shoot, right? Y'all, we a joke, right? We need training, right? Oh, okay. But we didn't get chased up in no goddamn library. we ain't never got chased nowhere. I'm sorry. We ain't get chased in no library. We ain't never been tear gassed. Ain't nobody never been arrested. So please, I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. These motherfuckers got chased up and they hid in the library. Close the door, hurry up. There's something, they're out there. Come on, y'all. I'm done. But if you're on the black side of things, you should feel good. Look what y'all done did to these people. They sent out the only ones that they had. I'm sorry. It's just like here. Look, it's funny now. I don't see no racists on here. I'm looking at the comments. Where the racists at? Where the ones that was talking all that shit? Y'all got to enjoy this moment right now, black people. They talked all that shit. And on this day, see, now here's the problem. We didn't ask for this day. We didn't tell y'all to go out there. We didn't go out there on the 4th of July and say, now be out here by the 15th of August, so shit is going to hit the fan. We didn't do that. We didn't. We went out that day because you made a threat that you was going to start killing black people on the 4th of July somewhere around about 8 o'clock. You said that. We didn't say it. So we came out there about 6:50, you know what I'm saying, since y'all was going to start about 8. Nobody. But today, it's Clown Squad. It's F Troop. It's the Bad News Bears. It's the Apple Dumpling Gang. I don't know what the hell that is. If we had came out there, that would have been the most lopsided shit in history. Y'all would have been sitting there. Can't you see the shit now? We over there all nice and cool and calm and shit. And then they over there, all chaos, fighting each other and shit. And people getting there. We standing there. The cops would only say, y'all all right? Y'all good? Okay. Y'all good? And they go over there and deal with them because they don't have no trouble out of a militia. See, that's what command and control is. Everybody's on the same page. Ain't nobody doing their own thing. If you're doing your own thing, then that means that you are a part of the coalition. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of other groups that I could shout out all day. Big shout out to the New Black Panthers. Big shout out to the Huey Newton Gun Club. Big shout out to the Justice League. Big shout out to the Black Riders. Big shout out. All of them doing their own thing. But we come together as the coalition. You understand what I'm saying? And we all get on one accord. We all agree on one thing. We work on that one thing. Not this romper room. The amateur hour. I'm sorry. I had to say it. The amateur hour. When I left off in the last session, I actually talked to a few people. That's why I was gone for so long, because y'all got a lot to say today about what I talked about earlier. And that's good, because now people are saying, now thank you for explaining those things. I'm in a better place now. Thank you. I just needed to hear it from you because it sounded kind of crazy over there. And I'm like, well, I've said what I had to say, and I told them what the conditions would mean. But it's very hard for some people to change themselves. And you all know there's an old proverb that talks about what is more valuable, the son that all the kids that stay at home, or the one son that leaves and then eventually comes back home. You celebrate harder when the son comes home and comes back to the fold than the one that is, than all the ones that stay in the house and get on your damn nerves every day. All right? You're always looking for that one. And then, of course, like somebody just said, you got some people, and I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but my people are very gullible, and some of y'all respond to having your emotional buttons pushed. Those are things that we try not to do. That's why I'm facts over feelings. I don't follow your feelings, so you getting upset doesn't faze me because I don't operate on emotion. That's not how I operate. I might get intense about some things, but I'm never going to make a decision based on emotion. I've been on earth long enough to know that that never works. The other thing I wanted to speak on real quick about is that a lot of folks don't understand that it's okay. And see, remember, we're living through a second period of the civil rights. Believe it or not, this is another phase of civil rights that's kicking in. But what a lot of people have forgotten, like y'all remember some of the characters and y'all remember some of the incidents that happened. But one thing that nobody ever talks about and what a lot of y'all don't know about is that there was divisions in the civil rights movement. And let me break down why there were divisions in the civil rights movement. Because it wasn't everybody wasn't on one quote. Martin Luther King wasn't leading everybody. Malcolm wasn't leading everybody. There was different reasons why there was, at the heart of the civil rights movement, there was tension. There was a tension from the beginning arising from the disagreements on the methods and the goals. There was also jealousy and rivalry between the leaders competing for media attention. The NAACP and the NUL, that's what you call the Urban League and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We've been colored in a minute. See, they were moderates due to their willingness to work with the courts and the whites. They wanted to work with the white people. But then you had what we call CORE and the SNCC. They was called radicals because they advocated self-defense. And then you had Martin Luther King and the SLC. They were criticized by the moderates because they was too radical, and they were moderates by the radicals. So everybody had an opinion. The SNCC, CORE, and the SCLC became more radical during the 60s. There was different people doing different things, but they all was working toward the same goal. Here's what was at the source of those tensions. The use of violence in the fight for black civil rights. Some people say, yeah, we need to pick up a gun and let's go. That was one group. They had another group, the extent to which whites and blacks should collaborate. Some people didn't want whites in their business at all. Other people said, no, they are allies. We got to work with them. That was a source of tension. How far should you bring the change? And what's the de facto? Because nobody agree on what constituted our arrival. Some people wanted this. Some people wanted this. Some people wanted this. Everybody couldn't agree on what they wanted. And then there were some disagreements over how much we should integrate. Maybe we should only integrate a little bit. Then there was an argument over methods. They was arguing over how they should do it. Some people said peaceful. Some people said violent. Don't you know that King and the SCLC provided the effectiveness of peaceful protest during all the way through the late 50s and the early 60s? They was the peaceful protesting people. They was your Black Lives Matter. That's who they was. They were the peaceful protesting people. But the SNCC and CORE, they used those methods because they worked and not because of their belief. They also argued that they could be used in self-defense. Now, y'all got to remember, back in 1966, we had the shooting of a man by the name of James Meredith. And that prompted the SNCC to emphasize its commitment to self-defense. That's when they picked up the guns when somebody got killed. Stokely Carmichael, he was the leader of the SNCC. He argued this was an example that underlined blacks needing to use violence. CORE also moved away from nonviolence. They became more violent. People changed. Everybody was doing it. But they had another problem with collaboration. The movement got split over how far blacks should collaborate with whites to fight racism. The SLC and the NAACP, they was arguing that cooperation would make the movement stronger. The radical groups argue that black people should liberate themselves. Others argue that whites should never underestimate the problems that blacks face rejecting mixed membership. And then the SNCC and CORE, they moved away from mixed membership in the late 1960s. So here's the problem with that. Everybody's trying to go about it a different way, but they all want the same thing. The last thing that they disagreed about was using the law. You see, the NAACP, the Urban League, the SCLC, they all fought for legal change, and they was committed to work within the American legal system. But then you had people like the SNCC and CORE, they was focusing on the economic and the political issues that faced by black citizens in the northern cities, so they was ready to fight. Integration was a problem. Separation was a problem. How many of y'all know that the Nation of Islam, and I give all praise to them, they argued that there should be an all-black society back then. And then you had Malcolm X. He rejected integration in favor of separation. This was back then. And then on top of that, you had a lot of personalities. Personalities didn't clash. Everybody wasn't on the same page. King became the focus of a great deal of criticism from a lot of other groups. They felt that he dominated the movement, and they argued that he was controlled by the white government. Don't that sound like what they're accusing me of right now? The SNCC and CORE, they was critical of King. They accused him of treating them as junior partners to the movement. Isn't that what I'm hearing right now? King suggested that the NCC should be a subsection of the SCLC. King was telling other people how to organize their shit. Ain't nobody sitting around here doing that. You see how they had all these differences? There was people in the SNCC and CORE activists, they believed that King worked too closely with the president at the government and had failed to protect protesters during campaigns. The man got to work with the president and people hated him for that. So ain't nothing changed. We're doing the exact same thing again. Don't y'all know that destructive tensions, you can damage somebody's reputation? A lot of people don't believe it ever happened before, do you? They damaged King's reputation and showed that he wasn't a spokesperson for every black citizen in America. That's how bad they took King's weakness, which was evidenced during the Watts riot, where the protesters ignored his pleas to stop rioting. Martin Luther King couldn't get them people to stop rioting. And after 1966, groups like the SNCC and the CORE, they was no longer willing to work with the NAACP or the SCLC or the Urban League. They was doing their own thing. So the fragmentation of the movement made it harder to organize national campaigns. You see, we organized a national campaign with NFAC, and now they're trying to find a way to bring it down, because do you know how hard it is to organize a national campaign, to get people to come from everywhere, because we all believe in the same thing, because we all feel the same way, because we all had about just enough, because we all ready to show that we ready to die for our own and we'll kill for our own. Do you know how hard it is to put that together? So there's people who want to tear that down. The conclusion was that this apparent unity of the 60s is a smokescreen that concealed personal rivalries and political disagreements like we have in today. A breakdown in the civil rights coalition was due to radical groups such as CORE and SNCC and the growing influence of Malcolm X and the culture of the northern ghettos and the politicians becoming increasingly adept in dealing with peaceful protests. All of that was happening 60 years ago. And now here we are 60 years later, and the only thing that looks like it's changed are the faces, because the game looks like it's all the same. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't come out of the comfortability of my anonymity 2-3 months ago to come out here for this. I came out because I felt like y'all were just as fed up as me. So therefore, and I'm only talking to the people in the United States right now, because my alliances globally are sound and solid. Thank you for all of y'all that called in to repledge your allegiance to me. Thank you very much. But for the folks here in the United States, as I said before, you're living through the exact same period that your grandfather or maybe your mother or your father may have lived through. I don't know. But what you're not recognizing is that you're living it right now, and a lot of you are acting just like they did back then. We don't have the luxury of doing it this time, because there's not going to be another go around. So, as I said before, if you haven't read the book Brainwash, remember, it is always easier to attack the person who looks like you rather than attack the enemy in your own way, which is what we all have the right to do. So, I wanted to talk about that because a lot of people don't understand that it's okay. It's okay. What you can't do is do nothing, because one of the biggest pieces of the NFAC is the community policing model. Now, let me show you something that's very interesting that you probably didn't know. If you go to the Department of Justice website, they have a website which is actually cops.usdoj.gov. And if you go to /Homeland Security, you're going to come up on an interesting document which is called Homeland Security through Community Policing, which I thought was rather interesting, that Homeland Security would have a piece on community policing when they don't do that. So as I started to read through this article, the very first thing that it says is that every police department has a role to play in Homeland Security, and community policing is essential to public safety at both the local and the national levels. Okay, so it says that this is nothing more but a bunch of resources to help you set up community policing, right? But when I started looking at it, I noticed there was something missing. I'm going to read you the 6 different areas, and you tell me what's missing. There's policing the connected world, using social media in police community partnerships. Okay. There's building interdisciplinary partnerships to prevent violent extremism. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Violent extremism. We're going to come back to that. Then there's a part, listen to this, uniting communities, tactics for cultivating community policing partnerships with Arab, Middle Eastern, Muslim, and South Asian communities. The next part is lessons to advance community policing, final report. Next part is a report on the National Summit on Empowering Communities to Prevent Violent Extremism. There's that term again. And then last but not least, there's some subsections on homegrown violent extremism, online radicalization for violent extremism, Twitter and violent extremism, online services and violent extremism, YouTube and violent extremism, Facebook and Instagram, violent extremism. Okay, that's all there is. What's missing from this picture? Let me go back to the one right here. Tactics for cultivating community policing partnerships with Arab, Middle Eastern, Muslim, and South Asian communities. Nowhere on there do I see African American, Black, Negro, Colored, Latino. I don't see any of that. I see a whole lot of other groups, but I see nothing that talks about community policing being developed in our communities, because they don't intend on doing community policing in your community, because the model of policing that they use for you is what they call remote control, remote monitoring policing, meaning we don't live there. We sit way over here. When you have a problem, you call us. We don't know what the hell's going on. We're going to come from a remote position. We're reacting to what you said. We're going to come over and deal with it. That's the type of model we got for you. But community policing is when the community is proactive, they see stuff coming, and they work along with the police department to stop stuff from happening, so they're not responding to it, they're preventing it. But they don't have anything in here for us. Nothing. Isn't that interesting that the very same people who are writing a paper for police departments on community policing would leave out the demographic that appears to get busted in the ass the most? I'm just asking a question. So I looked at this document even further, and I said, well, maybe if I dig down, I'll find it. No, as a matter of fact, the deeper I dug, the more this became a manual for how to set up the police department to outpower it, enhancing the law enforcement intelligence capacity, gathering and sharing analysis of people's data, police terrorism, an executive guide to terrorism. So that takes me back to the first term. I wanted to know, what do you mean by violent extremism? And when I dug into that term, how come then it mentions African Americans? Because they see you as a formidable threat. Because they know that one day y'all might wake up and realize who you really are. And then on that day, you might decide you're not having it no more. And then on that day, you might decide that some shit gonna change right now. And shit either gonna change or somebody's ass gonna get hurt. They know that that day is coming. So they're trying everything in their power to make sure that when that day comes, that you're a shark with no teeth. You're a tiger with no claws. You're a dog with no fangs. That's the whole goal. And if it takes years to do it, that's good. They're good at doing things over centuries. Slavery lasted for 2.5 centuries. So I bring this information before you because one of the things that NFAC is working on is a community policing model that can be emulated all around the country to address black-on-black crime in our own neighborhoods. We do our own community policing. We do our own looking out for each other. That's what we're working on. But now we're finding out that when we go for, if we were to ask for some guidance, is there a model we can look at that won't piss off the government? They don't have nothing for us. That's how new this is. That's how invigorating this should be to you. That's how fresh a breath. The 2020s rolled in and took us back to the 1960s. And y'all still hanging on to 2020 like it's going to mean to 2018, 2019, like it's going to come back. It's not going to come back. They getting y'all ready for the vaccine. You are on ice on the vaccine, and it's hard times for people. People done lost their jobs. People done lost the ability to travel like they want to. People can't gather no more like they used to. They have the whole world. Not just here in the States, everywhere. So I want you to be aware that when you start talking about policing your own neighborhood, your help is only going to come from so high. Well, when it comes to what's here on earth. But at the end of the day, I wanted to touch on that real quick. Now, let me shift gears to something else. People are asking me about how can I get into the website. I can go to the website. I can see the name. I can click on the areas, but I can't get into the website. First of all, the website is blacknfac.com. Of course, you can't get into the website because, as I keep trying to tell you, the idea is to protect who we are. So that website is for members only who have been granted a login. Other than that, all you can do is stare at the door. But don't worry. Once I depart from Instagram, if you are in our database, you will receive an email at last, and it will tell you where to go. That's how that works. For everybody else, you can follow me over onto my YouTube channel. We're going to do a bounce around. Got to screen some folks out. I'm going to go over to YouTube first, and then from YouTube, we'll move to the new platform. That's how we're going to get there. That's how we got to shake some of the snakes. That's how that's going to work. Well, other than that, that's really what I wanted to come talk to y'all about. Community policing, the circus that's going on at Stone Mountain. You should feel good about yourself today, black folks. Chalk one up for us. Don't let them take away that moment from you. That's why they didn't want to report it on the news. Because if they had reported it, they would have had to respond to it quicker. So now they're trying to act like they just popped up. I saw one news story that said we went out there on July 4th and that they immediately organized this for August the 15th. No, that's not how it works. You said you was going to do something. We came to the time you said. You weren't there. We left. It's over. There's no do-over. Okay? There's no do-over. Also, somebody else asked me to comment on this. I'm not sure why I need to comment on this, but I will. So there's a question about alkaline water. Let's talk about it for a quick second. And this whole pH scale. They're saying, well, at what point is it too much pH? If you're drinking 9.5 or 10.0 on the regular, every day, by the gallon, yes, you can throw your system off with the overtoxicity, yes. And there's symptoms of what that looks like. Look it up for yourself. But for the most part, if you're drinking, 2-3 bottles a day and it's 9.5, you good. You're good. Just don't overdo it. But if you're still drinking some stuff that's around about 7.0, 7.5, you may as well be drinking soda or Coca-Cola or pop or whatever y'all want to call it, because that's got the same level of pH as what you're drinking. So some of those waters, please check the pH level and don't get that stuff that's not actual alkaline water. You can make your own if you know how. But the key is the pH level. Me personally, I'm 9.5 and above. I find something above 9.5, I'm acting like I don't know. I'm lost my mind because it's like liquid energy. It is. So that's what I wanted. That's what they asked me to speak about. Other than that, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I am going to go and try not to laugh for the rest of the day, feeling good about what's happening up on the mountain. Don't forget to join me tonight for the last Facts Over Feelings, the last live stream on Instagram. Been nice, it's been real, but it ain't been real nice. I can't deal with the censorship no more. It's time to go somewhere where I can talk and I can be me. We can do what we need to do, people. Join me tonight, 8:30. Of course, you know they'll probably shut us down. They probably won't even let us get off the ground. But I will put the link of my YouTube page in the bio for my page. It's been a wonderful 8 years. I'm letting y'all know you really should go and take a look at what's on here. It's been a diary. 8 years from every transition I've gone through, from that whole music situation, going into the activist situation, going into the presidential situation, going back into the music. Big shout out to my man Busy B and the hip hop umbrella, coming back out and then going into the activism situation, going into this whole teacher situation, going into the eclipse situation, going into the shout out to Nipsey's birthday. Y'all didn't know. That's right. Nipsey Hustle. That's right. Y'all know what it is. The marathon still continues. You know, I was on deck for that. Go back and look at all of that. It's all there, all the way up to now. So I'm going to leave it up for 24 hours, and then that too will go away. And then let's see what else they have to talk about on social media, because some people don't know. You don't know what you got until it's gone. And that's real talk. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep your head to the sky, and keep your heart focused on the Most High. I will see y'all in a few hours, unless something else comical happens.
This is Black Views. bringing you the Black News.